Hi there everyone, it's Tom Voyage here. Now in this video we're going to be walking you through a beginner's guide to using the Ooni Karu pizza oven. So you've just got your new pizza oven and you're looking for a starting point before you cook your first pizza. Well, in this guide I'm going to tell you what you're going to need to get started, how to set up your oven, some tips on preparing your dough, and some tips on cooking your very first pizza. So here we have an Ooni Karu 12. It also comes in a 16 as well, and some of the tips I'll be telling you in this video will be relevant for the Ooni Karu 16 as well. So to get started, a little bit about this oven. This is a multi-fuel pizza oven, which means it can cook on wood, charcoal, or gas with an attachment. The Karu 12 is designed to cook 12-inch pizzas and the 16 is 16-inch pizzas. Now when looking at Ooni pizza ovens, the Karu series is definitely my favourite. I really like the fact that you can cook on both wood and gas. I find that they're very easy to use once you're used to them, and I think the pizzas that you get from these are top-notch as well. So in order to get started with your pizza oven, some of the things you will need. First off is pizza peels. Ooni do perforated peels like this, which are really good, but they can be a little bit costly. Or you can find a third-party version like this, which is not as good quality, but it'll still do the job. Pizza peels also come in wood, like this one. Now, wood is traditionally used for launching your pizza, which I'll sometimes use it for, but I also think these look really good for serving your pizza once it's cooked. Next up, you'll need an infrared thermometer like this one from Eric Hill. Now the thermometer is really handy because it lets you use a laser pointer to measure the heat temperature in the stone. Now that's important because your stone needs to be of a certain temperature in order to properly cook the pizza. Now the Karu is designed to work with wood, but since this is a beginner's guide, I recommend using a mixture of charcoal and wood. The charcoal provides a nice consistent temperature, and the wood on top of the charcoal is going to give you a nice hot flame that rolls across the top of the pizza and cooks the toppings. So the next thing you'll need to get started is some good quality charcoal like this one from Big K. You'll also need some wood chunks for your oven. I cut them to about this size, that's about 3 inches long and about 1 inch thick. Make sure that the wood is hardwood, like oak for example, and that it's not been treated or painted either. So let's take a closer look at the Ooni Karu itself. So inside here you'll see you've got the pizza stone. There is a hole underneath here to lift it up if you do need to take that out. Next, moving up to the chimney, there's a handle on here. If that's pointing in the down position, that means that the draft door is fully open, meaning it'll cook at the hottest temperature. If it's closed this way, it's going to stop the airflow and mean the oven will cook at a cooler temperature. Next, you've got this big thick door which needs to be kept on at all times when cooking. That's going to help create the right airflow to have the flames come across the top of the pizza and up out the chimney. So looking around the back of the oven now, this is the air intake, and it has 2 bolts here, which is what you would remove if you wanted to add the gas attachment. On the top here is a hatch where you can access the fuel basket, and this lid actually has a hook on it that can attach there to keep it out the way. And also they provide under here a nice Allen key which you can use to take off these bolts here. So now let's talk about the firebox of the Ooni Karu. So inside your Ooni you'll find a firebox like this which you need to fill with charcoal or wood. So today, because we're using charcoal, we use these nice big chunks which helps with airflow. Smaller chunks of charcoal will block up the air gaps and won't allow the fuel to get as hot. Next, we're going to use some of these natural firelighters in between the coals, and once this is in the oven and lit, we're going to add a couple of chunks of wood to the top as well. Now the wood is going to give us a nice flame that will roll over the top of the stone, making it nice and hot. Now before you add the wood, we're going to push this to the back of the Ooni, so make sure that your gap here, the airflow gap, is facing towards the back of the Karu. And push it all the way to the back. So you can access your fuel from the fuel door at the back, rearrange it to make sure that all the coals are covering the firelighters, and finally pop in your wood. So once you're all set up, we're ready to light. So I use one of these chef's blow torches just to get the fire onto the firelighters there. Make sure they're both well lit. And once you're happy, we can close the fire door hatch. So our Ooni's lit, we've got our chimney damper fully open and ensured that the door on the front is closed too. So it's going to take about 10 or 15 minutes before we come back and add a little bit more fuel. So this is the perfect time to start preparing your dough. So as you can see, we've prepared everything here. Let's talk firstly about the dough. Now, if you were interested in making your own pizza dough, I've got a great beginner's recipe that you can check out by clicking the link above here. If that seems like too much trouble, then there are loads of companies out there that provide a pre-made frozen pizza dough like this one from Homemade Pizza Club. The balls are already weighed out, you defrost them in the fridge overnight, and the next day you're ready to cook freshly made pizza. Next, I like to have all my other bits prepared. Now today we're going to be cooking a margherita pizza. So here I've got some pre-chopped tomatoes ready for the pizza base. I've got some mozzarella which has been drained, ready to use. Some basil for the toppings, a little bit of oil, and it always helps to keep a bowl of flour as well, because you can never really have too much flour when you're working with pizza dough. So it's been around 15 minutes and our fuel in the Ooni Karu now looks like this. So it's about time to add some more. I've got a couple of handfuls of coals here that I'm just going to pop in. And maybe one more bit of wood too. So it's been another 10 minutes or so. We've checked inside the oven and there's a really good fire with rolling flames in there. So I think our stone is going to be ready. So now it's time to use our digital thermometer to check the stone temperature. Now I like to have it around 450 degrees centigrade, which is about 850 degrees Fahrenheit. So our oven's definitely hot enough, so now it's time to prepare our pizza. Now whilst you're doing this, don't forget about the Ooni. If you need to put a couple more pieces of wood on there to keep that heat in, please feel free to do so. So we'll put a bit of flour down and we're going to stretch out our pizza base. So that's our pizza stretched out. Now we're going to add some sauce. I would always recommend to go with the less is more method when you're doing a pizza, because you don't want to overload it with toppings, especially if you're inexperienced. So next up we're going to use some mozzarella. Just tear some little bits on top of here. Again, not too much, just enough to get us a nice taste. Gonna pop our basil leaves on here and then finish off with a drizzle of olive oil. So now is the bit that people seem to think is the scary bit, actually picking up and launching your pizza. So the only bit of advice I can give here is use lots of flour, give it practice and be confident. A nice quick motion does the job. If you wanted to know more about launching a pizza, I do have an individual video on this that you can see by clicking the link above. Right, our pizza's ready to go. Let's get it on the oven. So the Karu's up to temperature. We've got a nice flame on there. Be careful what you do with this oven door because it'll be hot. Don't put it on any wooden or plastic surfaces. We're going to put the pizza directly onto the stone with one motion like that. Now usually you would put the door back on for the cook, but I'm going to keep opening mine so you can see the progress of this cook. So the pizza should take about 90 seconds in total, and halfway through you're going to need to turn it round because you'll start to get hot spots on one side. Okay, so it's been between 60 and 90 seconds, and as you can tell, there we have a lovely, beautifully cooked mozzarella pizza. So I hope you found this beginner's guide useful. If you did, please remember to like and subscribe because I've got tons of videos on Ooni pizza ovens. If you've got any questions or comments, please feel free to add them in the comments section below. And for any of the links or products that we've used in this video, you'll find them in the description too. Thanks very much for watching this video, and we'll see you next time for more pizza making videos.